Welcome everyone to a virtual tour of my railroad. The railroad runs on DCC NCE power system. It's got two levels. It's a two-track main line on the upper level. Down below is a single-track loop that goes around through both north and south staging, which you see here. 5 tracks on the north staging, on the north and east wall, and south staging has 4 tracks with an additional spur of 4 stub tracks on the south side, and a track that leads to the engine terminal. Upper level, you've got your 2-track main, you've got your dog bone that you see, tracks go around the helix, and you've got a 2-track main. So you see here the industries currently operating. There's 12 and there's a 13th coming on board in about 45 to 60 days. And now we have capacity for each industry during an operating session. Now we're going to go into the lower level staging. Here's the west end of the staging. On the left are the north staging tracks. On the right are the south staging tracks. You've got your 2 tracks in the middle that basically form a single loop on the lower level to and from the helix. This is looking toward the west end of staging. This is actually south staging tracks. The track you see on the left goes to the engine terminal, to either the tail track, which services the engine facility, or the loop track for the turntable. So now we have some views of the staging tracks, some of the trains that are on there. Tropicana, tank train, got an intermodal train. That's the north staging with the 5 sets. Those are the panels. This set of panels is on the west end of the staging tracks. An operator can throw the switches. This is the east end of the staging tracks. On the left there you'll see those switches. That's the new section of stub tracks. This is another view. That's north staging on your right, south staging on your left. Going to see another view of the tracks, and we added those tracks so that when I do some virtual op sessions, I can move some of the cars out of the way. You can see some Penn Central covered hoppers, Empire Belt caboose. This is the panel that the operators during a session control on their own. Every track has a kill switch if we decide to cut the power. So this is the east side of below the main section of the layout. There's 4 stub tracks there to store freight cars. The 2 tracks towards your right, one is the main loop track that goes around the bottom. The other one is a passing loop track where I basically just store some short train sets during an operating session. This is the west side of below the main section. You've got some more 4 staging tracks. They're all stub. You've got your main loop track, your passing siding track with the Conrail engine, and the other 4 tracks just store freight cars. Another view down below. The entire lower level is lit with LED light strips and a few other types of lighting strips, but the rest will eventually switch to LED. Okay, here's the turntable area of the engine terminal. Got 6 tracks off the turntable on the right side. We have 5 tracks on the left side. 3 go into the engine building right there. Track on the left, that's the track that goes to the turntable. It comes off of the 5th track in south staging on the west end, as you can see. This track in front that I'm zooming to the left, that is the tail track. That takes you to the engine tracks that are on the east side on the lower level. You can see it goes around, and that's where engines would get serviced, get sanded, fueled up. This is the east side of it. Underneath the layout, you can see the walkway. That's a work in progress. Another view of the engine terminal. can see the crossover, and that's the track that goes to that one goes to the turntable. The one on the far left goes to the tail track, and that tail track is on an auto reverser because we do have reverse polarities when we're coming into that terminal area. That's the lead track. That's the panel for the turntable. Each track has a cutoff switch. We can kill the power. That's the auto reverser for the turntable. And that's the panel that controls the service tracks on the other side, which is the east side of the entire engine terminal. This is the Morris Plains interlocking. On the right, there are 4 stub tracks for a little commuter terminal there. Right now I have an Amtrak train parked there. That's the Morris Plains interlocking that you're looking at. That's the panel for Morris Plains and CPSK, that red lines. That's for the loop track that goes around the bottom of the helix. These are the signals for the operator that control Morris Plains interlocking, which I control from the dispatch panel. That is my panel in the dispatch area. Got 3 different colors, red, yellow, and green aspects. Guys know how to move the train. Here's the helix. The helix is a custom built kit that I put together. It was specifically made for me. It's a 3-turn helix with 2 tracks going around the top. It is a 2-track helix. Those green electrical devices you see there, those are the DCC Specialties PSX AR auto reversers, because we have, with the dog bone, we have loops and we have reversing loops. There are 12 of them on the layout. 5 upper level, 5 lower level, and 2 in the engine terminal area. You see the re-railers, that in case we have an issue coming up or down from the helix, staging, a car may derail or whatever. And we also have a loop track that goes around the bottom of the helix. Now we're on to the upper level. This is the Amtrak station. It's all kit bashed from Walters Kits. Those are Walters station platforms. The steps that you see that lead up to the top, so to speak, are from Bachmann. You can see the Rapido Cabbage engine there with a couple of Amfleet cars, and on the back end is AMD 103 Amtrak engine. It's a dummy. Up top here is my Amtrak station, which I kit bashed from 2 of the Walters Amtrak stations. Made one large building. I've got a section for buses. There are lights on there for just to enhance the scene. Some dividers. The roads are part of from Bush, and they basically, it's peel and stick. It works out very well. Looks good. On the right side of the station here, you see the taxi cab stand. The one road goes around the entire train station, just like at some real railroads where people circle around. And then on the ends of each side are 2 tracks going to and from a destination. There's that AMD 103 that's on the Amfleet cars. So here's your tracks. You've got your 2 mainline tracks on the right. That's your outside main, inside main. Those are your signals that govern West Harold interlocking, which is what you see right now. The next upgrade, which is going to be right around here, are going to be new signals, so that the railroad can run bi-directional, coming to and from the helix. Now we're approaching the Little Jamaica interlocking. Those signals will all go away. They're going to be replaced with new signals. Another view, a little aerial view of Little Jamaica interlocking. When you see this the first time, it can be very overwhelming, but once you start running it, it falls right into place, and I've never had anyone say they had a bad session here. Going around to the south wall, a quick pass by CP South, which goes into the freight yard. That's the back wall over there. and pretty much following the mainline track, you're going to get a quick view of the freight yard, and we're going to get into that in a little bit more detail. And one thing I will tell you, I'm not sure if I stated it earlier, but this is all code 100 track, and my track work is bulletproof. If there's a derailment, it's the car. It's not the track, and everyone that runs on my railroad has all stated it. So I'm pretty proud of that. That's the back wall there. So these signals are going to go away. We're going to add a signal bridge. This is on West Harold. Going to add it so that we can run bidirectional, and it's basically going to be able to control going west down to the lower level or coming up. This is the opposite end. These signals will go away. They'll be pushed down further. This is en route to Little Jamaica. The eastbound signals are going to be added to a signal bridge right opposite the signal tower. It's going to be pretty neat to run because it'll keep the flow of trains a little bit better to run during an operating session. There'll be less downtime. On an ideal session, I can run get 9 trains run switched with a dispatcher, myself, yardmaster, and 4 operators. That's the current panel for West Harold. There's going to be a lot more rotary switches there. All the signals will operate manually. That's Little Jamaica. Okay, Rockridge Freight Yard. Many of you know me that I like to have a good time, and I name things after certain areas. If you know the movie Blazing Saddles, that's where the name Rockridge came from. This is a view of the west ladder that you're looking at with all the freight cars. You can get into this freight yard from either side, north or south entrance. On the left there is the east ladder. This is the south entrance into the freight yard. Against the wall there are 4 tracks. That's the arrival departure tracks. This is CP South. This is how you get into the freight yard from either track coming from staging. Another view of the west ladder. This is the east ladder. What's nice, you can have a train sitting on one ladder and still run around and make some moves, some shoving and pulling on it. 4 tracks on the right there. Those are the arrival departure tracks. The track against the wall will be used for more industries. Okay, so now we're at Cargill. This is one of the major industries on the railroad. There's 6 tracks in this area. 2 tracks for the grain cars and 4 tracks for the corn syrup tank cars. Those are all either the 17,600 gallon freight cars or the 19,000 gallon freight cars. Another view there. You can see some of the covered hoppers. 10 covered hoppers max on those 2 tracks, 5 on each. Approximately 14 tank cars on the this track here. These 4 tracks, excuse me. This is the panel for Cargill and for the power plant, which is RMO Electrics, meaning Rip Me Off Electric. Just a crazy name to add to it. Gives a little humor to the railroad. This is the power plant. That is a Menards building, and originally this had 2 tracks and now has 4. We added the switches to it, and they run manual. Basically, you just throw it on your own. That switcher is always there. Now we're on to Tropicana. Tropicana has 7 tracks, 2 inbound, 2 outbound, 2 building tracks, and 1 track that holds an engine and can hold a reefer car there. Normally this is a dedicated train that comes up from staging, runs through the freight yard, and depending on how it comes up can be switched out a couple of ways. Some people really ask to run the juice train. They like it. And I know one operator here, he came by, first time he tackled it, gave it a lot of thought, took him an hour to switch it out. There's only 14 cars on the train going out, 14 coming in. But you know what? He had a great time, and that's all that matters. Some of those 57-foot reefers that you saw, they were refrigerated trailers, were custom painted. Quick view of the panel. Little instructions when you're ready to depart. The building is 2 levels, and as soon as we get closer, you're going to see the decals on it. And those are O-scale decals that say Tropicana on that building. It's all kit bashed from a company called Great West Models, which is no longer around. That is the engine for the layout. That is a custom painted Tropicana MP15 that I let a friend of ours, no longer with us, Al Holly, custom paint. I gave him the color scheme. I told him, do whatever you like. Back to the panel real quick. We've got some still shots in this video. Mike's Lumber handles center beams, RBL boxcars, and some high cube boxcars. To the right here, you're going to see that's Little Jamaica Interlocking. That is Freihofer Bakery, can handle 2 or 3 freight cars. Those are my private railroad, Atlantic Pacific Railroad freight cars, painted by the Patio Paint Shop in Georgia by my friend Sir John. That's the panel which the operator of the train can run. That is Ideal Auto Parts. That can handle 4 60-foot or 4 86-foot auto box cars. That building was specifically made for this corner. Another friend of our group built the freight docks for the trailers, and I kit bashed that one section there. That logo, Ideal Auto Parts, if you can remember, is from the Ideal Toy Company. Okay, now you're seeing C&P Restaurant Supply, and that is a kit bash building of 4 City Classics warehouse. 2 tracks going into the building, 5-car capacity max, and we always switch out 5 cars on each track, only because we don't want to have a car stuck in there and not be able to get to it. We're still doing some work there, as you can see. I will say that throughout the video you may see a subway line. That's a work in progress. That is shapeless steel that you're taking a view of. There's 3 tracks there, can handle anywhere from 8 to 10 gondolas in there. That's the panel that the operator can use for shapeless steel, controls it on his own. Any track that has goes in and out of the main is controlled by the dispatcher. This is another large industry. This is Three Amigos Warehouse. It's 2 tracks. Each track can hold 5 cars, along with a oil tank facility. And you can see the other side, there's another set of tracks. That's the panel to get to either the intermodal yard or to this facility here, and you can operate that switch up top, which we'll get back to, from either side of the industries. Some detail. We're going to show you a little bit more of the detail. So what we did is we added a lot of details. We added some pallets. We added a couple of forklifts. We added a couple of vending machines. Of course, some figures. And this scene came out pretty nice. At least I think so. Everybody that sees it likes it. This is the intermodal yard. This is the other side of the Three Amigos warehouse. 4 tracks. It's got 2 MyJacks. Has some lighted animation on it from the folks, Sammy up at East Coast Circuits. This is the track that can be controlled from either side. Makes it easy for an operator switching out the intermodal yard. Little aerial view. Here's the panel for the intermodal yard. Last industry here is the auto racks. Down the road we're going to add some concrete look in it, so it's all flat like the real ones. Alright, hope you like it. Thanks for watching.